Before I got divorced, I held the opinion that divorce was wrong, except in cases of addiction, abuse, or chronic infidelity. And even though I'm divorced now, because of the negative effects divorce has on children, I still believe it's our responsibility as parents to do everything we can to avoid divorce. And if that's not possible, to lessen the effects of divorce as best we can on our children. Some of my classmates offered up some of their stories of growing up in homes where their parents fought constantly or fell out of love with each other, yet didn't divorce. Some of them expressed the desire that their parents might have gotten divorced rather than experiencing what they did. I too weighed those same thoughts before I get divorced. Would it really help? Would it solve our problems to get divorced? Or would it just create a whole new set of problems on top of the old unresolved issues? Divorce didn't wipe our slate clean. It just allowed us to walk away without addressing the issues that caused the divorce in the first place. Divorce not only affects the adults in the marriage, but the children as well. In most cases, the effects divorce has on children are more negative than positive, regardless of how good the divorce might be for the parents. I'd like to take a look today at the ways divorce affects children and how parents might be able to lessen those effects. Divorce affects between 40 and 45% of married couples in the United States each year. That's roughly 1 in every 2 marriages. The divorce rate for second marriages is approximately 60%, with the rate for third and subsequent marriages rising to 75%. Author Elizabeth Marquardt stated in her book titled Between Two Worlds, The Inner Lives of Children of Divorce, that in a major national study, researchers found that 1/3 of divorces end high-conflict marriages, in which the parents report physical abuse or serious and frequent quarreling, which means that 2/3 of marriages ended simply because parents were unhappy or were being selfish. Divorce directly affects the self-esteem and self-worth of each child. It creates feelings of isolation, shame, rejection. Kids feel like they have dual personalities. They can act and behave one way at mom's house and then act and behave a different way at dad's house. And this can be confusing for them as they grow up and leave home and go out on their own. They might not be able to figure out which side is really them, the mom side or the dad side. They might not be able to put them together and just be oneself. They also have divided loyalties. Parents would never come right out and ask that a child choose a side. But depending on how parents interact with each other, whether negatively or positively, that can influence children to feel the need to choose a side or choose one parent over the other. Because children see and hear everything, but they rarely interpret everything correctly. It might make them feel responsible for the divorce. When parents fight, like for example, if they're fighting over child support, it can make a child feel like they're being bought or sold from one parent to another. It might make them feel rejected by either or both of the parents. Dr. Robert Hughes, an associate professor in the Department of Human Development and Family Science at Ohio State University, stated that children who grow up in divorced families are more likely to engage in delinquent activities, to get involved in early sexual activity, and to experiment with illegal drugs. In adolescence and young adulthood, they are more likely to have some difficulty forming intimate relationships and establishing independence from their families. Divorce can also affect children academically. The stress that comes from divorce can affect their schoolwork, and it can cause them to act out aggressively at school or to withdraw from friends. In Vicki Lansky's divorce book for parents, she states, "Some children have a very hard time, fail academically, ignore teachers' efforts to help, refuse to participate in anything not required, and lose friends because of belligerence or apathy. Other children become immersed in studies, activities, and friendships as an escape." Karen Rudolph, a psychology professor at the University of Illinois, performed a study on children of divorced parents that was published in the Cognitive Therapy and Research Journal. She noted that divorce makes some children feel they can't control events in their lives. The children may abandon their homework if it doesn't come easily, or shy away from the hard work of making new friends. They are also more depressed than children of two-parent families. Divorce also affects future relationships children can have. Author Gary Chapman, who wrote An Honest Look at Divorce, said, "Children do not perceive divorce as a second chance, and this is part of their suffering. They feel that their childhood has been lost forever. Although children need parents and parents want to continue good relationships with their children, parent-child relationships are forever altered by divorce. Seeing a parent leave creates commitment and trust issues with children. If someone as important as a parent can leave, then a spouse can leave as well. Dr. Tina McGinnis stated in an article in the Journal of Psychosocial Nursing and Mental Health Services that as adults, children of divorce have poor marriages themselves with higher risks for divorce. As a result of watching a parent leave, rather than work out the problems in the marriage, children are given a negative role model on which to base their future relationships. And if divorce occurs early enough in a child's life, odds are that they'll have to deal with other adults entering their lives, such as boyfriends or girlfriends of both or either parent. And children can develop attachments to these people as well, who might leave in turn, which just reinforces the feeling that that anyone can leave, a spouse, a parent, anyone. So is there such thing as a good divorce? In the Cambridge Handbook of Personal Relationships, authors Hetherington and Kelly are cited as saying that it is parental conflict more so than divorce that affects children negatively. They argue that if good divorce strategies are implemented and utilized, it can lessen the negative effects divorce has on children. They say that if we don't treat children of divorce any differently than we treat children of married couples, the impact or the stigma of divorce will be lessened dramatically. So can the negative effects of divorce be lessened or minimized? Susan Boyan and Ann Termini created a workbook titled Crossroads of Parenting and Divorce, 5 Steps to Prevent Divorce Abuse, to teach parents how to lessen the negative effects divorce has on children. The first step they suggest is to keep children out of the middle. Don't talk negatively about the other parent. Don't use your child as a messenger. Don't burden your child with your adult problems. And don't interrogate your child about the other adult. 2 is to let your child love both parents. You might not like the other parent so much anymore, but you need to respect the fact that your child loves and needs that other parent just as much as they need you. Show acceptance of the other parent as well as their home and their rules in that home. Number 3 is to work on your own recovery. It's okay to grieve the end of your marriage. Let go of the pain and the anger that goes with it. And also let go of your spouse in that spousal role. And number 4 would be to develop new communication skills with the other parent. If you can't talk without fighting, agree on a different form of communication, such as texting or email. Be polite and respectful of the other parent at all times. And the last one would be to create a new relationship as co-parents. So think of it as a business partnership where both of you as partners have a common goal that you're working towards to create well-adjusted children. You'll want to set boundaries for the partnership and learn to negotiate. Divorce affects every aspect of a child's life. It causes self-esteem and relationship issues. It increases the risk of teen pregnancy and drug abuse. It causes problems with schoolwork and friendships, and it creates issues of trust and commitment. Not all children will be adversely affected by divorce, and a good percentage of them will recover with time, but there is no escaping the negative effects of divorce. I believe children benefit most from having their mother and their father in the home. And while I believe it would be ideal if families could stay together happily, I know that's not always the case. My hope is that parents who are contemplating divorce will take a good long look at the effects it will have on their children, on their whole family. And if it turns out that staying married isn't what's best for everyone, I hope that parents will do everything they can to minimize the negative effects the divorce will have on their children.